So, as King David lies dying in his bed, the big question is, who's gonna run Israel after he's gone? Well, you see, he promised Bathsheba that his son Solomon would be the king after he kicks the bucket, but David's other son named Abdonai claims that he is going to be king after David dies. And he's also backed by General Joab too. David is angry at this, and he immediately brings Solomon in and has Solomon declared king right on the spot. He then offers his son his final parting words and tells him to kill Joab for all the wrongs he did in his life. And then David passes away after 40 years of being king. Solomon has Joab and his brother executed. Later after this, Solomon goes and offers sacrifice. He offers about 1,000 burnt sacrifices unto God in one night, and he falls asleep while doing this. In his dream, God shows up and is all like, "Yo, Solomon, I like you, bro. Tell me what you want and I'll give it to you, bro." And so Solomon demonstrates a great level of maturity and wisdom when he asks for this. He says, "God, you have made me a king over your great people, but I am a young man who lacks the wisdom to rule over them. I ask you to grant me wisdom so that I may be a good judge over your people." God is very, very happy that Solomon asked for such a wise thing. And so he's all like, "You could have asked for anything, like riches, a long life, or the death of your enemies, but instead you asked for wisdom. I like you, kid, and just for asking for that, I'm gonna give you wisdom greater than any man before or after you. I will also give you all the things you didn't ask for as well. Live righteously, and you shall have a long and peaceful reign, my guy." So after this, Solomon wakes up, and it's time to put his wisdom to the test. Two women come to him, each one claiming to be the real mother of a newly born baby. One is obviously lying, but no one knows who to believe. Solomon then says, "Everyone, it's cool, don't worry about it." So he then pulls out a sword and decides that he's gonna cut the baby in half so that each woman can have a piece of the baby. One of the women agrees to this, but the other one cries and just says to give the baby to the other girl instead of killing it. And so Solomon proves that she is the real mother because a real mother would rather lose her baby instead of letting it die. Word catches fast that Solomon is super wise, and he becomes very well known across like many distant lands. And a lot of foreign royalty and travelers come to hear of his great wisdom. He then leads Israel into the golden era, because with his great wisdom, he befriends all the other nations who bring him a lot of gold, exotic animals, and a lot of supplies to build grander buildings and roads, and even his own navy. And also his reign is very peaceful. He's not going into wars or anything. So things are going pretty well for Solomon. And then Solomon builds the temple of God, which was the dream of his father David, and he gives a great speech declaring how great God is, and God is super happy with him. And then God shows up to him again and tells him to continue being awesome, and he'll continue to be blessed. So things, like I said, are going pretty great for Solomon, but trouble begins with his wives. You see, Solomon loved a lot of foreign and exotic women. He married a lot of them, in fact, about 700 in total. He also had 300 concubines on the side, I mean. And so, with all these foreign women came foreign gods, and they convinced him to start worshipping them, and so he did. And he started building temples and altars in devotion to these foreign gods. God notices this and is all like, "Gosh darn it, Solomon, you had one job." And so God then tells Solomon that his kingdom would fall apart and be ripped in two. But he also tells him that that will happen after he dies, and during the time of his son. But Solomon doesn't get away scot-free. You see, God raises an enemy against Solomon, so Solomon does have an enemy and actually does battle with. And so Solomon lives the remainder of his life. He rules for about 40 years, such as his father David did, and he dies. And that's about it for him. So, I always got frustrated with the story of Solomon. I'm putting my own opinion here at the end. It's just kind of sad that someone so wise and so blessed could fall, and I'm not sure, it's just a sad story when you think about it.